Thank you very much for inviting me. I was earlier here in the month of May, I believe. It was a startup conference. And this is my second interaction here in this conference on entrepreneurship. My name is Faiez, and I also do a lot of work in consultancy, and I also run an institution called Verita, which is basically help people establishing entrepreneurship initiative. There are a few things which I'd like to clarify, and there are many questions which I've been receiving since May. People asking me questions on the topic which I initiated back in the month of May. It made me think, okay, there are a few things which needs to be clarified. So I thought this is a good opportunity. I was tired of answering through Facebook private message. So I thought I will use this opportunity to answer all those people interested in knowing the answer of entrepreneurship, because the last time I said, each and every one of us has the potential of becoming an entrepreneur. And then there were several questions which was asked of me, if everybody becomes an entrepreneur, what about the people who are working? Who is going to run the corporate show? And because of the shortage of time, I was not able to answer. But I think this is a good opportunity for me to starting from the place where I left last time. So I'm going to spend some time talking about why I think entrepreneurship is something which is misunderstood and why entrepreneurship as a full thing needs to be understood. So you can pick up. It's just like an a la carte in front of you. Entrepreneurship, technically speaking, entrepreneur is the one who establishes a business which provides employment opportunities for others, and he takes substantial risk to do that. Building upon where all the Punjabis have left. You know, Pakistanis have a history of glamorizing things, and I think I'm fearing that we also have glamorized entrepreneurship. Looking at this conference center, convention center, it seems that entrepreneurship is only a cup of tea for those who are fortunate enough and the graduate of the universities. But that is not true, because technically speaking, the definition of entrepreneur also includes those who are not as fortunate as you are. And I think it's about time that we realize that we are going wrong. Otherwise, we will continue moving in the circle. So, you know this definition of entrepreneurship, but there is another equally important concept, and that is the concept of entrepreneurship. And this is the concept which I was actually referring to the last time. Entrepreneur is the one who does not initiate a new project, but he is a one who identifies an opportunity within the existing business. And each and every one of you, even if you are interested in continuing your job as professional in the organizations, you can still consider the possibility of becoming an entrepreneur. For example, you are in the HR area, you are in supply chain, you are in the finance, or you are in the marketing or sales operations. You can still identify those opportunities where you can continue doing the same work which you are doing, but instead of having the fixed salary, you are paid for the results you produce. And that would be a person called entrepreneur. That is one side of the story if you are in the service sector. On the other hand, if you are into the product, into the production or manufacturing, the entrepreneur is the kind of a person who identifies an opportunity within the organization and establishes a separate business unit responsible for profits. So you have both choices available in front of you. If you do not have the cash, you know, whenever we talk about entrepreneurship and the kind of emails I received, one question was common, and the question was, how do we generate funds for different entrepreneurship initiatives? And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't have any good name of all those people who became super duper entrepreneur, and what kind of an entrepreneur you would become if you are still dependent on riba-based economy, and if you are still dependent on the banking sector and somebody funding you. Because the kind of a concept I have about entrepreneur, that is totally different than what these education institutions would teach you. And this is exactly what I was discussing with Dr. Mukhtar Sahib here. Besides, it's about time that we have to push down the entrepreneurship initiatives from the university level down to the vocational education and the primary level. Why are we simply forgetting those millions and millions of people who are neither entrepreneur nor intrapreneur, but they are called solopreneurs. All those freelance people, your hairdresser, your mechanic probably, all those professionals, doctors running their own clinics, all the cycle wala, the tele wala, the tandoor wala, they are the solopreneurs. Why? And I don't see any one of them here. This is where I was referring to, that we are trying to glamorize the concept of entrepreneurship and ignoring. I think it's about time that we also look deep down and found out how those people made successes in their lives without going to a university or a college. How did they learn about entrepreneurship? And even if you pay them 3 or 4 times salary, they will simply refuse the salary and will continue doing what they are doing as solopreneur. So I think it's about time that we corrected our definition of the entrepreneur and really get down to the issues. It's not about establishing a business and having the incubators and going to the banks and getting the money from the Prime Minister Fund. It's much more than that. Now, this is not the topic of my presentation today, so I thought I would use this little time to clarify some myths about entrepreneurship. So having said that, I am moving to the topic. What it takes to be an entrepreneur, and when I say entrepreneur, I am referring to these 3 types of entrepreneur under one umbrella of entrepreneur. So I've been, involved in this subject as an entrepreneur. I have actually, throughout my life, I have seen, tested, and even today, I am doing all these 3 types of entrepreneurship parallel. I'm running these 3 parallel types of entrepreneurship. I am a solopreneurship in many initiatives. I am an entrepreneur as well as I am also an entrepreneur. So, if you ask me what are the key traits of those people who will be either one of these, pick up any book on entrepreneur. It's just about the change of words, but you will not see anything beyond what I will be telling you today. There will be different packings, but deep down there will be simple, exactly the same words, probably the different buzzwords. So there are 4 things which if you can see and try to test yourself out, if you have these 4 basic qualities or traits inside you, then you are a material, either the entrepreneur, solopreneur or entrepreneur. And these are number 1, trust. And I will define what trust means. Number 2, if you have autonomy, a burning desire, one of the core values as a person to live an autonomous life. Number 3, if you have an initiative. And number 4, if you are industrious enough. So let's look at all these 4 one by one. How I define trust. It's not the trust, or it's not the moral side of the trust I'm referring here. It's the trust. Believe in you. Tolerance over ambiguity, uncertainty, trust in people. This is where what the trust means. Faith in people, faith in the environment, faith there is a tomorrow. If it didn't work out today, it will work tomorrow. believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All these things come down into the category of a faith. Without faith or without trust, there is absolutely no quality or basic ingredients, because any intrapreneur, solopreneur, or entrepreneurship initiative is not something which you just start and you start playing to the full swing right in the first year. You will have your failures, but if you have a lot of trust and a hope and a faith, you will fall back. You will stand up again, you will fall down again, you will come back again, and suddenly you will see it has started working. So you have to have the trust. I still remember all those things I have done in my life. Every time I discuss it with somebody, always I came across answers like this. Faiez, it wouldn't work like this. It never happened like this. ये कभी ऐसा हो नहीं सकता. अगर ऐसा हुआ है तो पहले बताओ किसने किया है. And you will also see those people around you. So you have to have those skills inside you, competence inside you to be able to handle those objections and those negativity around you, and that is only possible if you have a trust inside and if you have a trust of the nature, environment and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Secondly, one of the second most important, the one which I discussed, was having the ability and having the competence, number one, to self-control, to self-regulate, to self-determine, to self-rely, as well as a craving for independence. You know, it sounds good. Everyone would like to be independent. Everyone likes to be independent. But the question is, are you capable of living a life of independence? Because nothing comes for free. Independence also has a price tag. And the price tag is in terms of the self-control. For example, if I'm driving a car on the motorway, as long as the car is in my control, no cop will stop me. No fellow traveler will ask me, Faiez, is everything okay? Because I am in control of my car. The same way, if you are in control of what you are doing, you know where you are heading towards. You know what you are doing is right. You will stop all the objections coming towards you. But you have to have the control. You have to have a disciplined personality. You have to learn how to self-regulate yourself. Only then you will be able to enjoy the true independence. And that is the true definition of autonomy. Number three is what I call initiative. You know, I've been talking about it when it comes to initiative. Especially when I deal with people coming from universities. After 16 or 18 years of education, somehow we are trained and nurtured to do only those things which we are told to do. Please do this and you will do that. Please ask someone and you will be answered. Now after 24 years of age, when you ask the same guy that you need to learn how to take initiative, it becomes a little tricky. You cannot teach a child or teach a man of 24 years of age about the initiative. It is something which is nurtured in the early childhood. So initiative is something which we need to learn. You know, people who can see things. They can perceive things. They know what is coming up next. And then they can plan and manage things accordingly. And unfortunately, this does not really happen much, and especially after spending so much time in the mainstream. This is a good conference going on, and I have all the applause for the initiative of ETI. But just giving an example. If you have to ask something, there was a time when information used to be a right. Now, a lot of information has become a privilege to be checked. You have to ask things. You know, only a while ago, I had to ask at least 5, 6, 7 people, could you please guide me to the restaurant? And nobody seemed to know. And they were wearing the badges of organizers. And it bothered me. Why? Because, you know, initially, if you are making me stand up here, I need to be in control of the things. I need to know where the things are. This is what a very crude example of initiative is. How this modern education system is killing that initiative. That the children will sit home, wait for the mom to come, but they will not be able to cook the food already lying in the refrigerator. They would rather feel more comfortable in sending 20 text messages to the mom. Mom, I'm hungry, please come back home. And if this is how we have groomed ourselves, if this is how this education system has groomed us, I'm really very skeptical about the chances of success of all this in entrepreneurship initiatives. And I will come to you why I'm teaching and talking only about these 4 initiatives. And the last one, but not the least, is a concept called industry. And this is not that industry, this is being industrious, hard worker, patient, perseverant, diligent, as well as steadiness. Something which will keep you going in what you have done until and unless it starts working. All the successful people in the world, they will tell you it did not work out in several attempts. But they were committed to make that happen and to continue learning and practice different things till it started working. And then also when it started working, this never stopped. Every single day, they were facing a new challenge, but they were looking around, they had open eyes and open ears. And they were keep on changing and keep on changing and keep on changing. So that concept of hard work, the concept of diligence, concept of steadiness is something which I call being industrious. These are the 4 traits. And if you have all these 4 traits, hey, you are entrepreneurship material. Now if you ask me why I have used these 4 words, well, I'm a behavioral guy. My specialization is behavioral sciences. So now I'm going to tell you something that people probably don't know and probably wouldn't even like. I'm using these words because in 1960, one of the gurus of psychology, a guy named Professor Erik Erikson, he said, these are the 4 traits which are going to have an impact on your life, on your relationship, on your health and wellness. And they're only nurtured in the specific time. They cannot be nurtured later on. And the time frame which he gave was that the trust is something which is nurtured in a child through the environment and the parents from pregnancy till the first year of age. If the child is handled well, if the child primary caregiver is always available, if there is no bad experience of the child on this environment and its world around, the child will start becoming or learning the trust. He will start learning to trust this environment, trust the people, trust the hope, because he is the one, if he has to cry, to get the attention of the mother, if he has to cry to get his demand of feeding fulfilled through the mother, then he will not learn to trust people. So, being mom was considered a full-time job. And all those people, I will come to those millions of people I talked to you about, the solopreneurs. They never went to school. How can they become so good solopreneurs? Because their mom was not resourceful enough. Their parents were not fortunate enough to afford the private education. But at least the mom was available, and he learned to trust the environment. He learned to trust the people around, and he learned to trust himself. That's why he succeeded. But the time frame is -1 to 1. The next one is autonomy. According to Erickson, autonomy is something which is nurtured in early childhood education, and the time frame which he gave was from 1 to 3 years. You make your child autonomous by training and education, by giving him smaller little life challenges. The mother will always tell the child, why don't you bring that to me? Okay, let's cook the food. Okay, let's clean up the room. Let's mop up the floor. Oh, you can do that. You can do that. Ultimately, he will start becoming autonomous, not through the education system which we have today, where you have specialized force and workers for each and every aspect of the life. And the child is always looking towards, okay, she is the nanny, he is the cook, he is the driver, here comes the mom, and he is the father. And each and everyone has a diverse set of responsibilities. How can you expect that child to be autonomous when he is dependent on so many people around? Number 3, the concept, the word which I use is initiative. 3 to 5 years, according to Erickson. 3 to 5 years mean initiative, taking initiative. And it is not something which you can teach. It is not something which can be instilled. It is something which needs to be shown. You have to put the child in an environment where the life revolves around taking initiative. He is forced to take, through the environment, he is forced to take initiative. Okay, I am going, the food is there. वो छोटे-छोटे बच्चे I've seen, you know, we have a family guy, we don't even call him servant. उसके 5 बच्चे हैं. उसकी सबसे बड़ी जो बच्ची है, उसकी उम्र 10 साल है. और वो 10 साल की बच्ची अपने 4 बहन भाइयों के साथ 30-40 लोगों का खाना अकेले पका के खिला सकती है. माँ से पूछो बगैर. This is called initiative. वो अपने अम्मा को कॉल नहीं करेगी, because she does not have a cell phone. उसको पता है मेहमान आ गए, तो she needs to find the resources around to get them served. ये है initiative. बच्चा छोटा भाई है, उसने रोना शुरू कर दिया, उसके पेट में दर्द शुरू होगी, and there is nobody around to be asked to check or be taken to the hospital. So she will learn to take different initiative. कि मैंने ये किया, वो रोता रहा, फिर मैंने वो किया, फिर वो रोता रहा, फिर मैंने उसको कंधे पे लगा दिया, फिर मैंने उसको ऐसे ऐसे किया, तो उसने रोना बंद कर दिया. अम्मा मेरा ख्याल है उसके पेट में दर्द थी. This is where the initiative comes. And you guys don't have a time. You guys need to be expert and told. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 5, and you're an entrepreneur. Congratulations. I'm sorry, it's never going to work that way. And the people who are talking about entrepreneurship, ask them how many of them are entrepreneurs in the true sense of the word themselves. So I think EDI, I have a small suggestion for EDI. Please push it down. Bring it down to the grassroots level, because you will be shocked and surprised how good solopreneurs you have and how much you have to learn from them. And there are so many of them who never even went to the school for a day. All these trades, either they were part of the nurturing or they have learned from the environment around. So the trust -1 to 1. Number 2, autonomy 1 to 3. Number 3, initiative from 3 to 5. And the last but not the least, industrious. Being industrious, hard worker, it is something which you learn from the birth, from 5 years to the 10th years of age. And according to Erickson, after these 10 years have passed, he declared the first 5 years of the life the most critical one. And he begged you all not to send your child either to the school or anywhere till the age of 6 or 7 until at least the first 3 stages or the first 3 traits have been nurtured through the parents and the environment around. And I was going through one of the studies by Cambridge examination, and I was surprised to see Cambridge guys requesting parents not to send their children to the school till the age of 6 and 8. Cambridge guys, and here we are, Pakistani civilization, right? We will be forced to send our 2-year-old child, the one who should be rather staying back home with the mom and crawling over the chest of the mom, so he develops the trust. He would be pushed and forced into a school behind closed door at the age of 1.5 years, 2 years. And then you expect a guy to trust. He cannot even trust a basic primary caregiver, supposed to be the mother. How can you expect a child to be able to trust the environment and other people around? The one who even has to scream to get his diaper changed, the one who has to scream to get his basic needs of feeding served, you expect a guy to stop screaming when he becomes an entrepreneur and stop looking outside? I'm sorry, that's never going to happen. Thank you very much for your attention. And if there is any question that you would like to ask, any question, burning question, I'm either available or can be reached at www.faiez.co. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure being with you. And I hope even if you learn one of these things, they should be sufficient for getting your life changed. Thank you very much.